Hello guys, this is Sami here. I'm from Melbourne, Australia. Uh, this is not a proper kind of formal review. I was in the market for a Mitre saw for quite some time, and I was searching for local stores just like Bunning, Sydney Tools, Total Tools, and some other local shops, but I couldn't find anything which either should fit under my low budget, because since night I'm not a woodworking professional. I'm just a weekend warrior, kind of a hobbyist, which usually do little bit things here and there at home, just like building some toy boxes, chicken coops, garden beds, little bit. So I basically don't need that much which should break the bank, and that's way too overkill for my needs. So luckily I was inclined towards the Ozito, and actually I had purchased the Ozito, but after Ozito is the local brand, just in case if you don't know, that's available from Bunnings exclusively. That's a quite cheap brand, but they make good DIY products. But sometimes you feel the limitation of the products while you are just going through the hardwoods or some other stuff. Then you feel that the motor is kind of a stalling. So then I returned that thing, the Mitre saw from Ozito. Then I found this Stanley Fatmax saw, which you can see the model number is SFMCS701 in Mitre 10 store, which was on a very good bargain at $400, including these two 4 amp batteries. These are V20 batteries, and one charger, one workpiece clamp, and the dust bag. So all the accessories. First I will give you a quick rundown, and then I will show you a couple of pieces that how this saw handles the cuts, and how smooth the motor is, and how fine the cuts are. Okay, first you can see there's a stop thing here. This is a depth stopper. Actually this one I've replaced it, that's why I'm going it first, because the one that came with the saw was quite short, and I find it quite hard to reach it behind the blade. So I replaced this one with the one I had from my scrap somewhere. And this knob, if you pull it, then that will let you leave the saw to reach to its full height. Otherwise it's kind of a store position or the packing position, so you just push it back, and that's, you cannot move it. And this screw, you can see, if you lose it, then the saw can move onto its rails. If you cannot, then the saw will be fixed, just in case if you want to use it just as a Mitre saw, or if you are carrying it, transporting it somewhere else, then you would not want this to be moving and giving you some surprises while in motion. Okay, so this has a just like a normal spindle lock. If you can see this little button here, if you press it just like the normal, and then there's a tool that bundled with this saw, this here, that's a good. So you don't need to buy anything, and now you just need to use this tool. Let me show you. Now you just need to use this thing here. You have to remove this cover. I think I never needed to change the blade, so that's why, but it should not be that hard, because you can use this tool just to remove that thing and just take the blade off and install any other blade. One thing I would like to mention here, for the people who are looking for a Mitre saw but they are more interested into the aftermarket blades, so this is not a very good deal for you, because you can see this has a non-standard 16 mm bore, although that's normal for a small size blade just like 190 mm, but you will have some hard time finding the blade of this bore. So alternatively, just like even I have this in my mind, whenever in the future if I need any other blade, although this blade looks of very high quality, I think it should last me for a long time, unless I'm using it professionally as a carpenter or something else. So but what I will do, I will probably go for a branded Bosch bushings, which are available for $3 or $3.5 in local stores. So that should not be a big issue. And you can see this is a 40 teeth blade, so that, and in a couple of minutes you will see that this saw gives you quite cleaner cuts. So that's also a result of these 40 higher tooth count on the blade. Okay, and actually you would be surprised if you will be looking on the DeWalt website, the current models, since Stanley Black & Decker is the kind of a parent company of DeWalt. So mostly, I think, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, the both saws probably they are manufactured either in the same plant or from the same engineers. Just you will see the same level of craftsmanship in this brand, and because I have some DeWalt tools as well, The table saw I have is a cordless DeWalt 8.5 inch DeWalt table saw. That's the, I know the color is same, but this still the build quality, the precision, and the material that's used in the manufacturing, they both look like almost of a high standard, not of a cheap pure DIY kind of a stuff that you feel that okay, if you touch it here then that breaks. If you just use it wear and tear, you cannot carry it, you'll need to be very careful. But this, by no means, I don't think this tool is kind of a very fragile kind of a tool. This should handle some beating, I think. So you can see how smooth the rail motion is, see here. And if you want, okay, the limitation of this saw, and you can see that this has handles on both sides. It's quite light as well. I think it's maybe just over 11 kilo something, so which you can even carry with one hand, or else you can use the both sides to carry it more safely. And the cutting capacity, I think for this one at 90 degree, which you can see it's set on 90 degree, it's around, I think as per the manual, if I recall it correctly, it's 216 mil, which is, you can see it here, it's 216 exact, so which is quite respectable for this size of 7.5 inch saw, 190 mil. And as definitely as you turn it and you to the full 45 degrees, or you do the bevel cuts, then you will definitely have this thing reduced. Just there's a little knob here, you can twist it so that you can tilt it to 45 degrees. Let me do it. Sorry, I don't have a dedicated cameraman, so I have to do everything myself. So now you can see that I'm just beveling it. Now the cutting capacity will be reduced to 150 mil in the length, and maybe 38 mil for the angle, for the compound cuts. So but again, that should be more than enough for a normal household usage, yeah, unless you are building a very high big size furnitures. So this should be fine, I think. And anyway, this saw is not intended to be used, as per my understanding, for the extremely long work pieces, because usually this saw is targeted to the finished carpentry, just like moldings and slight sills of the windows and doors. So you can use this quite comfortably. Okay, so now I've gone through probably all the specification. And another thing that I would like to point here, that the most of the corded miter saws, even the cordless miter saws, not many of them, because the only worked on a couple of corded saws of my friends, and they are ridiculously loud, and I literally, the noise is something that always just put me off. And another reason, because I have some fussy neighbors, so I never want to use any of the power tool in my garage or in my workbench here, as you can see, which disturbs my neighbor. So that's why I always choose the quietest possible tool I can find in the market in my budget. So this, and in a moment I will show you that while I can even talk easily while this saw is running. So this is another plus point for the peoples who actually want to have something which does not make that much of a noise. Yeah, I think it's around 83 dB or something as per the manual, if I recall it correctly, as per 83 or 86 dB sound pressure level. So but which is not a very high values in my understanding. Let's see. So this is the 4 amp battery that I'm just going to plug in now, and there's a slot here. Although this is not a brushless model, but you will see that this is a very quiet machine. Okay, another thing, that this does not have the laser, but in replacement of the laser, I think Stanley and DeWalt, since I've already told you that they both are the same company, so they have installed a LED just right across on top of the right on top of the, sorry for that, right on top of the blade here. You can see this position here. If I don't know if you can see it or not. So what it does, actually it throws the light on both sides of the blade, so which will actually give you exact place of the blade where it's going to cut. For example, this is the switch here, I'm turning it on. See here, now you can see, they call it probably, I think, X shadow something. So now you can see the LED here. Okay, now I'll put a workpiece here and you will see that how accurate this is. For example, this is kind of a oak here, and you will see As soon as I drop the saw down, you can see the light is exactly touching at the same spot where the blade is going to cut. So I don't think that I will ever need any laser for this thing, because you need to clean the lasers. Anyway, maybe in the future I might need to, since I've not been using it for a very long time. Probably I've had it for 2 months now, but I've used it a couple of times, more than a couple of times, so on a couple of projects. So I can say this is quite reliable. Okay, now as I've told you, so what I will do now, first I will show you that how accurate this is. Let me unplug the battery just for the safety measures, because whenever you try to touch the blade or doing any operation with the blade and going close to the blade, it's better to remove the blade. So first, see, all of his fences and the base is dead square out of the box. This is one another thing that you would like to appreciate here, that see here, there is no light gap. This side, no light, straight, perfect. The fences, the left fence straight 90-degree, right fence straight 90-degree. The blade itself, I'll try to show it as much as possible. Okay, I'll show you that how well the blade is here. So now you can see that I've dropped it down and my square is going there, and you can see the blade is exactly parallel, and it's parallel here. So this out of the box, I did not need to do any calibration, although there is a room. You can see the screws, the bolts here for the calibration if you need any case, just in case if you drop it. So there's an angle adjustment here, just in case, just a normal standard. Although one thing I would like to point out here, the 7.5 inch or the 7.25 inch mill saw from the DeWalt, this is which looks like counterpart of this saw, since does not have the depth stop. But you would be surprised to hear that's I think $300 more, just the skin, not the including the kit. So that's way more cheaper than this thing, which will be overkill for the normal weekend woodworker like me. So again, I've replaced this knob, because the knob came here, which was very short one. So I replaced it with someone thing I had in my home. So what I will do now, I will show you a couple of cuts of this saw, that how well this saw cuts. Okay, what I have now here, one just a pallet wood, one white melamine particle board, one pressure treated oiled wood, one small strip of pine, and one oak, I think. Okay, let's start with the pine strip. Make sure to always hold it. What I will do, I will put my phone on a stand here so that you can see it clearly what I'm doing now. Okay, it's time for me to plug the battery. Bear with me. And the battery does have a charge indicators, just like the normal big brands. You can see it here. So it is fully charged. Battery is plugged. Okay. See the pine. First, I'll just run it. Let's hear it so that you can see that how quiet is this. Okay, now there's a little safety switch here. You can see it here. We just need to flip it just in case, to avoid any accidental starts, and then you just need to press this button here. So okay, let's see. So as you can see, the blade is running. I can speak while the blade is in motion, which is very, very, very rare in terms of power saws, because they are very loud, and you always need to, I never need to actually basically wear the hair safety gear, just like the ear muffs, but so because I'm quite comfortable with the noise that it makes. Okay, since you have seen that how loud is this, and now let's do the cuts. You can see that how smooth the finish is, how well it cuts. It's a point. Okay, let's change it to the 45-degree. Although this does have a positive detents, positive stops, just in case if you need it. That makes it very handy, so that you don't need to manually calibrate it all the time. Okay, now let's do the 45-degree here. See, it cuts like buttery smooth cuts. Little splintering that you will always expect, and even on the highest possible saws available in the market, because if you want to stop this, you need to place a wooden piece behind, so that will not let it splinter around. Okay, now the pine is done. Now let's move to the pallet wood, which is a quite thick piece. You can see it's, I think, 1/4 or 3 or something. Let's see, let's move it to the 90-degree. So pallet woods are not super easy to cut with most of the saws, and you can see this doesn't have a proper shape as well. It's bowing, it's bowed or cupped, warped, I think, but anyway, it just for the purpose of demonstration it should be fine. Let's see. Even see with the pallet wood, so how smooth the cut is. Literally, if you are cutting it for the offcuts of from the sides, not across the grain, just like I'm cutting it across the grain now. If you are cutting along the grain, I don't think you will even need to even need to sand it, because this is a finished ready cut. Okay, let's do the pressure treated wood. In my understanding, it looks like a pressure treated, I think. It's quite thick wood. Okay, let's do it on the height wise, so that you can see the blade how it goes. See, the blade does not stall, no any blade marks or anything, butter smooth cuts. Okay, now the oak, Tasmanian oak, which is a nice piece of hardwood, and you will see that how fine it cuts. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not very good at this wood knowledge. As per my poor knowledge, I think this oak wood is, I think, hardwood. Let's see. See, again, without any struggle, perfect smooth cuts. Please don't worry about these splintering. As you know, if you have used this type of saws, if you want to avoid this, you don't want this to be happening, you need to keep a wooden piece on the back, just like this one. For example, if I put a piece like here, then it will not let it splinter from the back side when it finishes the cut. Okay, now last part is the white melamine, which is quite long board. You can see, I hope the saw will handle well. You can see that how wide this thing. So let me see how well it cuts. Okay. Always hold the piece as much as possible. Okay, let's see. And this time I will show you this light thing as well. I hope you can see it clearly, that when I drop it down, let me show you by holding the phone in my hand here. So now you can see the LED. This is the button here to turn it off, turn it on. Now you can see, turn it on. You can see it falls where the blade is going to strike to the wood. Okay, let's go back to the cut for this one. I hope it covers the cut. Okay, let's see. Again, without any hesitation or struggle. The motor is not brushless, but it still works perfectly fine. I think this is 3800 RPM, which is more than enough for a normal woodworking needs. And for the dust collection, sorry, I forgot to plug this wood bag, the dust bag, but this collects the dust, but it's not 100% dust collection. I would say 50% of the 60% of the dust it catches, which is good for me, and rest of the catches dust you need to clean up. But anyway, I was not expecting a miracle at this price point, because I did not spend 800 or 900 bucks just for a little small saw, and I think that also came with the kit. So that concludes my short review of this tool. I hope that will help you to make any decision if you are looking for a cheap miter saw, and but a cheap but accurate and quality build. Okay, bye bye.